Hello and welcome to another Magic 2015 gameplay. Today we're taking a look at a Mono Green Aggro deck, and it's pretty spicy. We're basically trying to play a bunch of cheap creatures with some sort of evasion, like Wandering Wolf, Spire Tracer and Aura Gnarlid, and then we're trying to make them bigger with bump spells like Primal Bellow, Gather Courage, Titanic Growth, and we also have some spicy 5 mana cost bump spells in Enlarge and Hunter's Prowess. So let's browse over all the cards real quick. So we have Primal Bellow. This is the most important bump spell in the deck, because once you get above 4 green mana, then you basically get a much better Giant Growth, or even better than Titanic Growth for just 1 mana. Then Spire Tracer, a green 1-drop with some sort of evasion, which is good enough for this type of deck. Then Young Wolf gets back with Undying as a 2-2, but just a green 1-drop is good enough for this deck. Then Gather Courage is easy to play with Convoke. You can use it on a creature you just cast by tapping the creature for the Convoke cost, so you can sometimes surprise the opponent by not having any mana up, but still being able to cast this with Convoke. Then Jade Mage is just a good 2-drop, you can make some tokens if you have nothing else to do. Same with Elvish Visionary, just a good 2-drop, draws you a card, gets you to those bump spells or more lands if you need those. And you can always increase the power and toughness with some of the cards we'll see next. Wandering Wolf, also excellent for this type of deck. Sometimes you'll have to use your pump spells before the opponent can declare blockers to prevent them from blocking, so you have to be careful to play around removal spells, but other than that, Wandering Wolf is excellent for this type of deck. Then Titanic Growth, +4/+4 for 2 mana at instant speed, pretty simple card. Then Aura Gnarlid, also important. The first clause, we're not playing any auras, but it's mainly that creatures with power less than Aura Gnarlid's power can't block it, so you may also want to play your pump spells before your opponent can block. Then Vengevine, a 4 mana, 4 power haste creature, is good enough for this deck, and the second clause is also relevant. Paragon of Eternal Wilds just gives all your green creatures +1/+1, and since we are mono green, that's pretty powerful, and the trample can also be useful. And then at 5 mana we have Hunter's Prowess, which gives +3/+3 and trample to a creature, and you get to draw as many cards as the damage you deal with that creature, so that's a lot usually, let's say 5 cards. The reason we're only playing 1 copy is because we are trying to be a low curve aggressive deck, so playing a lot of 5 mana cards is not great, but it can surprise people and can definitely win you a game. Same goes with Enlarge. I decided to go for a 1-1 split. Enlarge is more of a finisher. If you play this on a creature like Wandering Wolf or Aura Gnarlid, then the opponent won't be able to block, and this will just be a straight up +7/+7 card, which should be able to close out the game. And then finally we also have Darksteel Axe, which combines very well with Wandering Wolf and Aura Gnarlid. And we also have Hall of Triumph, just a cheaper variant of the Paragon, just at 3 mana. As you see, we don't have a lot of 3 mana cards, so I wanted to make the curve a little smoother. Then lands, just 23 forests. Alright, let's jump into a game. Okay, let's take a look here. Alright, this looks decent. We don't have any pump spells yet, but we do have 2 Elvish Visionaries, which should get us to those cards. And 3 lands is fine for this deck. Let's see what our opponent's playing. He kept 7 cards. And it's gonna be a mountain. And no 1-drop, it looks like. So probably not the aggressive Goblin or Red Deck Winds type deck. But we'll have to find out. Young Wolf is gonna do a pretty good job in the early game, and if he ever gets blocked by a bigger creature, we'll get a 2/2. 2 mana, still a mountain, and no play. Okay, and here we draw a Primal Bellow, which is pretty good. But I think I'm still gonna go for an Elvish Visionary here instead of the Jade Mage, just because I'm afraid of a possible Anger of the Gods. So playing the Elvish Visionary here means even if he does play an Anger, we don't really lose many cards. Also, Anger of the Gods does counter the Undying from happening, since it's going to exile the Young Wolf. But we'll have to wait and see. Still a mountain. And there's the Anger of the Gods. Alright. Might have been a little premature from our opponents, but let's see. I think now we can play the Jade Mage. We still have Primal Bellow to save it from removal, although I would like to use it as a pump spell to get in for damage. But maybe it could be worth saving our Jade Mage. Although most removal spells will still be able to kill it. And there's a Gutter Snipe, which means our opponent's playing some sort of combo burn deck with a lot of instants and sorceries. Usually those decks are also blue, so he might be stuck on just one color here. Let's see. Next turn we can maybe go for a Hunter's Prowess or Enlarge. But here I think we can just play the Elvish Visionary and offer the trade with Jade Mage and Gutter Snipe, and maybe... Okay, that does help. So I'm still gonna offer the trade here. We could try and save our creature with Primal Bellow if he does block, but I'm afraid of a shock that our opponent could have, and if he does have it, then this would be very bad for us. So I'm not gonna play the Primal Bellow to save the Jade Mage. Instead I'm just gonna play a Spider Tracer and be pretty happy. Alright, our opponent taps out for a Stormbreath Dragon, and Hunter's Prowess is gonna be pretty amazing. We could be patient and wait a turn to use Primal Bellow and Hunter's Prowess, but that might be a little greedy. Let's see. And we aren't guaranteed to have a 6th land, so I think just going for a Hunter's Prowess here is good enough. Doesn't really matter since our opponent's tapped out. And we're gonna be able to draw 4 cards here, which hopefully will help us win this game. And there we go, 3 lands. So this Primal Bellow is going to be pretty powerful when we decide to play it. Bolt of Keranos targeting our face or a creature? It's gonna be our face. Stormbreath Dragon getting in for 4 means we're at 9. Another bolt, so we're basically at 6. Meaning Stormbreath Dragon getting monstrous next turn could be lethal, but that means our opponent has to have a 7th land. And I think we win on our turn. We can play Enlarge, that's 7. Primal Bellow is another 6. So 7, 6, 13, yep, that's exactly enough, or like 1 point more than we need to. And let's do this. And that's the power of the Mono Green Stompy Aggro deck. Was a pretty close game, but I think we played it well. So I wanna thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a nice day.